Hi everyone, this is Jonathan from Leica's US support team. In today's video, I want to talk about Cyclone 3DR and the way that it handles LGS files. There's two different ways you can bring them into 3DR, and they behave differently each way. So I've got my Cyclone 3DR 2024 open here. I just have it open to blank drawing or document. And I've got an LGS file here that I'm going to bring into the software. So when you bring LGS files into 3DR, unlike other formats like E57 or LAS that just come in naturally, you have two options. You have the option to import or the option to convert. So let's say that I were to, I'll just grab a small LGS file here and drag and drop. See, it takes me to the import dialog here. You'll see that we have import or convert LGS. This is an older LGS file, so I have this LGSx format notification up here, but the changes still apply to either one. So with import, you see I just have the option to set the coordinate system. So if there are more than one coordinate systems in my LGS file here, I could change that. And then I have the option for the units. If I select convert, see I have a lot more to work with as far as settings I can change. So we can choose whether or not it's static data from a static scanner or mobile data from a mobile mapping system or airborne data. And then we can choose whether we want to bring the images along with the point cloud. We can set a max number of points. I have mine set to 500 million here. And then we can convert the cube face images to spherical images. So this will turn the images into spheres. If you leave this unchecked, they'll come in as cube face images. You'll just have the six-sided cubes that function where you can view them from an orthogonal direction. And then we have the same function for USV and or the coordinate system and units that we had on convert. So the main difference between the two, I'm going to go ahead and click import and then say import here, and we should see it'll sort of instantaneously pop in, right? Like, so this data showed up for us immediately. The reason for that is importing data in 3DR, it functions almost like an external reference, as it's not loading it into the memory of the document itself. So importing is constantly, every time that I rotate, it's referencing that file on the hard drive. You'll see over here, it shows up on the left in the outliner as a CloudWorks group. So we can determine whether it's a CloudWorks group or a point cloud by whether or not we have a red outline around our cloud here. So let me go back, and we'll also import a copy, or we'll convert a copy of this same file. So we'll take this scanning target examples file, drag it in. So I'll convert this, and then if we want static data, I'm going to leave all the settings here that I have set to default. It looks like it's not going to let us do that as a duplicate, so I'm going to have to go back. Let me convert this. So we have let's say that you brought an LGS file in through the import tab, and you want it to actually be converted for the extra functionality. You have the option here to convert the project as well. So I'm going to click convert project here. I'm going to set my max number of points to 500 million. You can see we have the same options that we had on the import, and then I'll say OK. Now what we should see here, there's no images to extract, that's fine. We have a different point cloud now. So we have our CloudWorks object still, and we have an actual point cloud as if we were to convert this LGS file and import. So you can see immediately the difference that we see is that we have a red outline around our CloudWorks object, and we have no outline around our converted LGS. So let me go over some of the differences between these two. The CloudWorks object, we can snap to it. So I'm going to turn off our converted instance of it. So we can snap to it. So like, let's say if I went to the extract tab, or if I wanted to pull a label, you can see we get our blue circle or a blue dot here that lets us snap to any of these vertices. So that functions. On surface modeling, we have the option to do scan to mesh, but you'll also notice here that we don't have the option to do a regular 3D mesh or any of these meshing tools. The only meshing tool that you have access to with a CloudWorks object is scan to mesh. Same thing with the the extract tools, we can draw here. You know, we can go in and draw a polyline. We can fit objects to this CloudWorks object. We can also clip it. So on the CloudWorks tab, if let's see, I've got a limit slice here. I can do a Z slice. We can clip that object, move it up and down, reset our clip. So those are some of the functions that we can do with a CloudWorks object. And some of the reasons you might want to use a CloudWorks object would be to save time. The import time, you know, with a file this small, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But on a larger file, you might want to save some time with the import by just running import instead of convert. Or you may want to not make any alterations to the point cloud itself, because a CloudWorks object you can't really modify. That's the other big thing about it. So if you see here, we can go to clean and select this. We don't have any of these options for separating by distance. We don't have any options for like the clean separate, like the fencing tools here. So I'll turn off this CloudWorks object, and then we'll turn on the one that we converted. Now when I select these, you can see we have the option here for clean separate, separate distance. Back on the surface modeling tab, we still can do scan to mesh, but we can also do 3D mesh, 2D mesh, spherical mesh. So basically the difference between these is this has now been loaded into the document memory. So we can go in to the clean tab now, for example, clean separate. If we wanted to isolate, say, for example, just this target, enter there, we'll say split. See, now I have two separate point clouds here. So with the CloudWorks object, I can't do that. So now I could turn off the examples and I could isolate this one and go in there further and do the things I need to do and resample. So basically the rule of thumb to remember is if you bring in a LGS file or LGSx file, if you import it, you'll be able to actually modify the file and cut it into pieces and create meshes from individual segments of it. If you reference it in as an imported CloudWorks object, then it's going to be more like a function, kind of like a background image that you can snap to. That being said, the reason I wanted to bring this up was if you notice that you're working with an LGSx file or LGS file and your 3DR seems to be running a little bit slow, like especially if you're panning around, check that the object's not a CloudWorks object. Because if you're panning around the drawing or moving around and doing things with the CloudWorks object, it has to reload that from whatever location on your drive that's saved to as you're moving around. So sometimes that can cause a little bit of stuttering or lower frame rate whenever you're panning around. If that's the case, try importing that or try converting that LGS file into an actual 3DR cloud object. But that was just what I wanted to go over today with this video. This is kind of a common issue that I see sometimes and something that is worth taking some time out to explain. So I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for watching.